Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is July 27th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a pretty chilling earthquake report for the upcoming month of August 2019. I have been collecting earthquake data and information going back to 2016 whenever I decided to start my YouTube channel and disclose all of the Planet X information that I had accumulated over the years. And I knew earthquakes were going to be a very, very big factor. And I've been accumulating all of this data. I have it all in my computer. It goes from month to month and year to year. Yesterday, I was actually going to do this report, but unfortunately, I had some terrible internet issues that were going on all day and just couldn't figure it out. And the internet cable company, they couldn't figure it out either. But anyways, around 3 o'clock in the morning, I guess they got their system corrected and internet's back up and running. I'm going to pull this report up, folks, because the month of August is going to be, well, let's just say it's going to be pretty chilling. There is a very, very high possibility that we could have some very powerful earthquakes. Just give me a second here. I'm going to pull up the live chat and make sure the stream's going okay. Alrighty then. Yeah, so I have this report, and like I said, I've been accumulating this data for years now, and I compare things. I compare the months, and I also compare the years. And as the situation is right now, as we move into the month of August, which is just a few days away, there is a very, very high possibility that we could have some pretty damn big earthquakes. In the month of August of 2018, we had 19 earthquakes. That's right. I said 19 earthquakes that were over a magnitude 6. There were some 7s. And there was also a very critical magnitude 8 plus. And these earthquakes are probably going to increase in magnitude. And again, folks, hey, real quick, one question. I'm using a brand new condenser microphone. Could all of you hear me pretty good? Because it came with a whole bunch of programs. And I'm no audiologist. I've never worked in a big studio like that. But is my audio okay? You guys can hear me perfectly fine? Just give me a thumbs up, say yes, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, folks, as I was strolling through this data for the month of July for 2018, and then I got into the data for August of 2018, that's when I started to realize once again the timing of the Planet X orbit around the sun. And, you know, one of the biggest factors that I forgot about last year and then going into this year is that the sun is weakening because of the solar minimum that we're dipping into. So there's a very high possibility that the month of August may be worse than the month of August in 2018. I don't think anybody could actually predict this, but going by the data over the last couple of years, it shows that steady uptick through July into August and yes, into September and October. I hear a lot of people talk about backside alignments and the alignments of planets. And yes, that's all perfectly possible. But because of this 28-day orbit, I've been looking at some of these dates for the bigger earthquakes in the month of August, and also looking at actual Planet X captures where we've been able to photograph this object and those dates. Well, it just so happened that in August of 2018, on August 19th, we had a pretty big earthquake, and we also had a capture of Planet X on one of the coronagraphs. The last capture that we had for Planet X this year, once again, it was on the 19th of July. So again, folks, this timeline, I've been working on this timeline for years now. I'm just not making it up. It is becoming a fact, not a hypothesis or a theory. Now, this backside alignment, a lot of folks out there in YouTube land, they tend to use this phrase. I think that they've picked this phrase up from Terrell Blackstar's reports. Terrell does do a pretty good job with his earthquake data and also his reporting. We have different views on his Blackstar information and the actual Planet X information, the actual observational information that I show you folks. But the fact of the matter is, backing this information up along with the photographic evidence is the key. So things have been kind of quiet, earthquake-wise, over the last couple of days. That is due to the positioning of this object. Now, we're getting into the last couple of days of the month. Remember, today's the 27th. So there's a very high possibility between today and the very last day of July. There's a very, very strong possibility that we get another look at this object. The last couple of days. Here's the timeline once again for all of you that haven't heard of it before from me. During the first 7 days, 7 to 8 days of every month, there won't be a possibility for us to see this object on any of the coronagraphs because of the positioning of the satellite cameras, the positioning of Earth, and also the positioning of this object. Once we move into around the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, we have that possibility of capturing that object, even moving close into the 19th, and then we won't see it anymore. Then we get to the end of the month, the last couple of days, and then we have that possibility to capture this object. Someone just recently asked me to provide them with a full year of the observational evidence. Look, folks, all my videos, there's over 2,085 videos. Okay, all of the evidence is right there in my videos and my live streams. All you have to do is go to the videos, pull them up, and look at the thumbnails and read the damn titles, and the title will tell you what we found on what date. and then you can go from there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this report up so we could take a look at this, because it's pretty interesting, and it's quite startling too, because on August 19th, I believe it was August 19th of last year, 2018, there was a devastating magnitude. I think it was an 8.2. And now that we're further into this solar minimum in August of 2019, the possibilities for bigger earthquakes, well, they're there. In 2018, in August of 2018, we had 19 earthquakes over a magnitude 6. 19. It would have been 20, but this last one, the USG has downgraded it, and it is what it is. But I'm going to go ahead and get into this data. Let me shrink my head down a little bit here for you guys. I know you're tired of seeing my big head in the video. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Nice shot of Red Bull. So, like I said, folks, I've been collecting earthquake data complete year by year since 2016. I put it all into a report. I think this is probably the first time that I've showed any of you these reports, but these were all of the significant earthquakes. I'm going to go ahead and just bump that up a little bit. These are all of the significant earthquakes for 2018. And this is the entire year. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan all the way down here. I hope that doesn't make all of you dizzy. And we are going to get to August. Okay, there we go right there. So you could see right here where my cursor is, starting right off the bat, August 5th, 2018, magnitude 6.9 in Indonesia. Then a few days later, August 5th, August 9th, magnitude 5.9. Now that's the earthquake that I was mentioning that they downgraded, because that earthquake there rang in as a 6.1, 6.2, and the USGS downgraded that damn earthquake, put it below the 6 factor. August 12th, 2018, right here, magnitude 6.4. That was on the 12th. Then we move up to August 15th, magnitude 6.5. And that was just south of the Tanaga volcano in Alaska. August 16th, magnitude 6.3, Jima, Japan. Right here at the bottom, again in Indonesia, on the 17th of August, magnitude 6.5. August 17th again, 2 earthquakes that day, magnitude 6.1, Costa Rica. Here was the big boy right here, magnitude 8.2, and that was off of the island of, I think that's pronounced Niue Island, Fiji, magnitude 8.2. 8.2 on the 19th. You see those dates, folks? All of these dates, they are in direct coordination with the eccentric and elliptical orbit of this object. There's no doubt about it. I've been putting this data together for years now, analyzing it very, very carefully. I've put all of the data into a calendar program in my computer. I mean, I would show it to all of you guys, but all it is the dates that I've had photo captures on a calendar. That's it. But I'm able to go back and reference all of that and refresh my mind. And over the years now, it has created a very, very specific pattern. Here we go. 8.2 on the 19th, 6.3 on the 19th, 6.3 once again. These are all in the Indonesia, South Pacific, Fiji Island area. On the 19th, magnitude 6.4, magnitude 6.9 on the 19th. So you see, in one day, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 huge earthquakes, one of them being a magnitude 8.2. So again, it's really hard to dispute that type of data. Even if it is coming from the USGS and the European Seismic Office, the fact of the matter is these earthquakes occurred. Whether they downgraded a few of them or not, they were still over a magnitude 6, and one that was very critical, a magnitude 8.2. Here's the point. Now that we are into this solar minimum, the sun's magnetic field is weakening, and so is the Earth's magnetic field. So all of you understand that the Earth's magnetic field works off of the sun's magnetic field. So if the sun's magnetic field is weakening because of a solar minimum, that means that the Earth's magnetic field is going to weaken also. So the possibility of cosmic rays, solar wind, and these heavy flows of electrons that we've been detecting bouncing off of our magnetosphere, well, this time around, a lot of that is probably going to get right through and impact the Earth. Things may be a little more critical in the month of August this year than they were last year. I'm kind of hoping and praying that everything that I'm saying right now is completely wrong. I mean, I got no problem with that, because these earthquakes last year, folks, in the month of August were deadly. I mean, let's be realistic here. People died. People lost everything that they owned. There were children that were killed in some of these earthquakes last year in the month of August. It was just absolutely terrible. So the possibilities of this occurring again, in just a few days, in just a matter of a few weeks, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would have to put it at a 10. So it looks like we're going to be under the gun, earthquake activity-wise, in the month of August. And I haven't even thrown in the California factor. Oh my God. We'll touch base with that here shortly. But as we move through these earthquakes that all occurred on the 19th of August, we move into August right here, number 65. We move into August 21st, magnitude 7.3. On the same day, a magnitude 6.5 on August 21st. Excuse me. Here we go with more data here. On the 22nd, magnitude 6.2. This was another earthquake here in Venezuela, which was a magnitude 5.8. The USGS downgraded that earthquake from a 6.1 to a 5.8. So that would have put us at 21 earthquakes for the month of August 2018. That would have put us at 21. But according to the data here, what was listed, we had 19 earthquakes over a magnitude 6 in the month of August 2018. Y'all following me out there, right? Okay. Then we had another earthquake in Alaska, same volcano, Tanaga volcano, or I think that's how you pronounce it, magnitude 6.3. That was on the 23rd. On the 24th, Peru, magnitude 7.1. In Iran, magnitude 6.0 on the 25th of August. Then moving into the last few days of August, on the 28th, magnitude 6.4. Very small earthquake in California, magnitude 4.4. Last year, California was not a factor in any of this. Then we move into a 7.1 earthquake in New Caledonia, and that was on the 29th, close to the last days of the month in August 2018. And then you see that little cooling down period, but it didn't last very long. And then you move into September 3rd, small magnitude 5.5. And then, we can continue throughout the rest of the year. This is September. And then here we go again on the 5th, magnitude 6.6. On the 6th again, the 5th and then the 6th. The 6th is a magnitude 7.9 in Fiji. Then on the 7th of September, magnitude 6.2. I mean, this data is absolutely critical. Here we go again. In China on the 8th, 5.7. On the 8th, 6.2. On the 9th, 6.5. On the 10th, the very next day, magnitude 6.9, New Zealand. Bet you everybody in New Zealand remembers that magnitude 6.9 because I do. On the 10th, magnitude 6.3. Magnitude 6.5 on the 16th. So you can see, folks, whenever I said in one of my live streams just a few weeks ago, I mentioned that getting into the month of July, August, September, October, November, and possibly even December now because of this solar minimum. I'm not going to use this terminology that others use, this backside alignment, because it's really not an alignment, because this object is orbiting the sun very, very rapidly every 28 days. However, whenever the Earth is orbiting on the second half of the year, July through December, it just seems during this second period around the sun, the intensity of the earthquakes pick up. And I haven't really put my finger on it yet. I'm starting to believe that because of our positioning in our orbit around the sun and the eccentric and elliptical orbit of this object moving around and around and around the sun very rapidly in 28 days, there's a very high possibility because of our positioning that we are experiencing more of this object's force. And there is probably another very good chance that I'm going to have to go back and see if I can get the data for the magnetosphere compressions for August of 2018. I'm going to take a look at that today. I should have did that before this live stream. If I go back and I take a look at these compressions in August of 2018, and we see influxes of electrons and also cosmic rays in the month of August, well, that just adds more fuel to the fire. So this data for the second half of the year, it intensifies. It intensifies all the way through September, October, November, and then things did start to cool down as far as the earthquake activity in December. And then moving into the next year, January, kind of a light month, earthquake activity wise. It all has to do with positioning. And there was a very critical article that Mark from the Blue Kool-Aid channel found. He did a very, very good video, I believe, yesterday, and you guys should definitely check it out. But he was talking about how scientists have found two stars orbiting around each other so rapidly. It was just absolutely amazing. So people ask me all the time, how is that possible? How is that possible? Well, listen, if you go and you do the research and you do a lot of reading, and you start getting into planetary dynamics and the dynamics of binary stars, you can see that these are very, very violent episodes that two stars orbiting around each other very rapidly. I mean, you're talking about loads of energy that the human brain can't even fathom. Because this object is probably the core of a burned out star, it could be a brown dwarf, it could be a red dwarf star. Again, folks, nobody truly knows the exact composition of this object, but it definitely has to be some type of core material. The reason why I say that is because of how close it gets to the sun whenever it comes up and loops back around. We have shown all of you this object passing through the sun's corona. Now, the sun's corona is emitted for a very vast distance from the star itself, millions of miles. We've tried to calculate how close this object gets to the sun. It's very, very hard to do, almost impossible. But we're thinking at its closest point, it could be about anywhere from 350 to 500,000 miles away from the sun in its closest point. So in space miles, that's pretty close. That's damn close. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this report. If any of you would like this report, I'll upload it to my Google Drive, and I will post this this report for 2018. I'll post it on the Planet X News Facebook page, and I will also post the link in the Planet X News group on Facebook. All you'll have to do, click on the link. It will take you to my Google Drive, and I'll make it available for all of you to download. Therefore, if any of you want to do a video just like what I'm doing, maybe you have subscribers, people that follow you, maybe you want to let them know. So I'll make this report available to everybody. You could simply download it. It's in a PDF file. Make sure you have a PDF reader program in your computer, and you can do your own video on this, and you can show people the actual data for 2018, what occurred last year will probably occur again this year because the same thing applied for 2017 and 2016. So moving into that solar minimum now is very, very critical. Again, I hope, I really, really do hope that I'm wrong. Because at this point, being wrong is a good thing, you know. But I'll make this available, and I wanted to show you guys real quick. There's a few new articles on the Planet X News website. I went and I collected some additional data on the article that Mark was referring to about two stars orbiting each other. And I remember hearing some information about this last year. And, it was put out by the boys over there at Caltech. You know, the Planet 9 Caltech astronomers. Yeah. Yeah. I don't believe a word those guys say. But anyways, this is a very, very good article here. And this just goes to show you, again, two dead stars orbiting each other incredibly fast. This confirms the existence of the Planet X theory because every single day I get a few people and then I get a few jokers that think that they know better, and they say that, if that object got that close to the sun, it would explode. Well, again, you need to do your homework. You're obviously getting an F in this class. That won't happen. Now, if we were dealing with a rocky planet, a composition similar to Earth's, or even a gas giant, or a planet like Venus, if you moved Venus 500,000 miles away from the sun, before it would even get that close, it would be completely vaporized and explode. Yeah, it would explode. People ask me all the time, why doesn't Mercury explode? Why doesn't Mercury burn up? And again, if you do a little bit of reading and you find out where Mercury is, Mercury's about 36 million miles away from the sun. I'll repeat that. Mercury is approximately 36 million miles away from the sun. So in all actuality, it's not that close to the sun. The front side of Mercury does get very, very hot, the side that faces the sun, but the back side of Mercury that doesn't face the sun, even though it's close, is actually quite cold. Yeah, that's right, cold. You'd need a winter jacket on Mercury on the backside. So again, folks, there's always going to be people out there that doubt you, and there's always going to be people out there that want to get under your skin and say stupid things, and they really don't know any better. But the possibility of two stars orbiting each other isn't some theory. It isn't some hypothetical thing. It's a fact. It's a fact. I mean, a bunch of other people out there that like to delve into this subject matter of Planet X, they all use the binary star theory. The sun has to have a binary twin. It's possible. Maybe maybe we haven't found our binary twin yet. I know some people like to say that it's possibly Jupiter, but Jupiter is not a star. It's not a star. Close to a failed star, but Jupiter doesn't have what it takes to create that fusion to ignite. So Jupiter can't be our binary twin. I know people like to think that. They like to say that because it sounds good, but it just doesn't hold any water, and it's no factual evidence of that. People also ask me, where did this object come from? It obviously came from the deep outer space depths. I don't know where it came from. Nobody knows where it came from. Do we know where Oumuamua came from? You know, that long cigar-shaped interstellar asteroid object, alien spacecraft looking thing that tumbled through our solar system? Do we know where that came from? No, we don't. And it was the first interstellar object that mankind ever saw. So again, just because the name Planet X has been ridiculed and smashed and made fun of for so many years doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. See, here's the facts, folks. It's very easy, very, very easy for somebody to sit there behind their computer and say that it's all fake. It doesn't exist. But see, folks, that's all that they say. They don't have any evidence to back that up. Every single debunker out there that I've bumped heads with, I've asked them to prove it to me. Can you please prove to me that it doesn't exist? And then they try to give me all of their, sugar-coated candy. Doesn't work that way. I show actual proof. I show the observational evidence. That's where I distance myself from everybody else on YouTube. People ask me, why am I so critical of other people on YouTube that are doing the same thing? Here's the thing, folks. All of these other people on YouTube that want to deal with this subject matter, they're not doing the same thing that I'm doing. They're not showing you what I show you. There is a big, big difference. I see people recirculating old material from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I still see people sharing Nancy Lieder's information, which is just absolutely insane. I had somebody post a photograph in our Planet X News group. I think it was yesterday, day before, of 2 pink lens flares. It was posted by Nancy Lieder, and it supposedly came from her, her astronomer friend, Antonio Gustavo, or I forget what the guy's name is, but it's clearly two pink lens flares. And if you cut out and crop the background out, well, there you go. It's nothing more than that. A lot of people think that they're photographing this object from the Earth up into space. I just don't see how that's possible. It's not possible. It's just not. A lot of people will try to turn you away from this information because they just don't have the knowledge to even believe in something like this. Could it all be possible? Yeah, absolutely. We don't know everything there is to know about space. We barely know everything about our own planet. And there is so much that we don't even know about our own oceans. So whenever you see these scientists out there with all of these degrees and they claim that this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist. Just because you have those letters at the end of your name doesn't mean that you know it all. It means that you graduated from college, you got a degree, but you don't know everything. And if you are in academics and you are being paid by a university, a think tank, or a government, you sure as hell aren't going to go against the grain, because you're going to want to keep your paycheck. Anyways, this was a very, very good article. It is lengthy. There's a lot of material in there. If you guys want to learn more about how this can occur, read this article. Read it word for word. Take some time. Tell the kids go out and play while you feed your mind. This was another article here. This had to do with some flybys and some near-Earth objects, asteroids, meteors, zipping around past the Earth. And I posted some information on this the day before, like 2 days ago. And I had somebody leave a comment, and I posted it in our group. And I had somebody leave a comment. What was the comment that they said? Oh, where is your proof that this asteroid is going to miss the Earth or come close to the Earth? And I'm like, what do you think? I just made this up? Do you think I just woke up this morning and decided to go onto Facebook and post something like that? I get a lot of really, listen, folks, don't take no offense. Please, don't take any offense to what I'm about to say. But I get some really, really stupid comments. And I think people are just, some of them are just, I better not use the word. But anyways, I keep track of near-Earth objects every single day. I spend time researching what NASA's looking at, what the JPL's looking at, what the European Space Agency's looking at. Here's the thing. A lot of times, these bigger objects, they're not seen by the boys in blue to the last minute. We started to see that occur in 2016. And actually, a couple of years before that, it actually occurred with the big meteor that exploded over Russia. But I noticed in 2016, there was a higher frequency of the JPL, NASA, missing these large asteroids. They weren't catching them till it was just almost too late. Now, they weren't coming directly at Earth, but what they consider an NEO, or a near-Earth object, hey, listen, we've had some of them come within 15,000 miles, 10,000 miles, 25,000 miles, passing between the Earth and the Moon. Listen, folks, that's a close call. Some of these asteroids are big enough that if they impacted a major city, it would wipe that city clean. You're talking, that's it. Instant flash, instant death and destruction, gone. The kinetic energy would just be, again, something that you can't even imagine. And for anybody to make fun of these types of situations, well, let me just say this. If and when any of these big bad asteroids decide to drop in on Earth, I hope it drops right in on your head for making fun of it. Because the fact of the matter is, since 2016, the near-Earth objects, they've increased. They have increased quite a bit. Think about it. How often do you pull up social media and you see it in the news? Now, you'll usually see it in the UK tabloids. They make it like, it's going to be complete death and destruction every single time we find an NEO. It's not the case. Here's another thing. If we were in the path of one of these objects, I don't think the governments would actually tell us. You would see the elite and the bigwigs in the governments going underground. They would soon disappear. Like I said before, you have to pay attention to what your government's doing. You have to try to pay attention to what the military's doing. Keep your eyes and your ears wide open. But folks, in a situation where an asteroid like that would hit the Earth, nothing you can do. There's just nothing you can do. These asteroids come in 50,000, 40,000 miles an hour. They start interacting with the Earth's atmosphere. They slow down maybe 30 to 25,000 miles an hour. They start burning up. They start fragmenting. If the asteroid or meteor is large enough, it will impact the Earth. Speaking of, now this article here, asteroid bigger than Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza barely misses Earth. Great article. I pulled information from the JPL, and this gentleman right here, he has the orbital path right there. You can click on it from Twitter, and you could bring it up, and that comes directly from the JPL, and you could twist and turn the video, and you can see different angles, and then you could zoom in and you could actually see how close it does come to Earth. All too often, the space agencies miss these objects because they're being flung into the inner solar system from the asteroid belt or from somewhere outside of our solar system. Why is that happening? Well, look, you can go back to some of the old myth with Nibiru mythology that says, that object came through the asteroid belt and disturbed all of the asteroids. I never really believed that, folks. The asteroid belt is just absolutely polluted with asteroids of all kinds of sizes. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions. If an object came through that asteroid belt for a period of time, that thing would have been pelted with jumbo-sized asteroids, probably like every hour on the hour. Who knows? We've never been through the asteroid belt. But if a large planetary object came through that asteroid belt, there would be a lot of collisions. Now, if an object came upward, straight up, and it missed the asteroid belt and it came in through the inside of the asteroid belt, what would happen? If it would have been a star or a core of a star, yes, it would have perturbed and disturbed orbits of asteroids. Therefore, just perturbing them just a little bit. And then in due time, if that perturbation was directed towards the inner solar system, towards Mars, towards Earth, then we would see it. I think that possibly happened. But again, folks, it is almost impossible to tell. We don't have that kind of inside information. I don't even think NASA or the European space agencies or any space agency on this planet, I don't think they have any information like that. So it's a crapshoot. It is a roll of the dice where these objects come from. Hey, there's a very high possibility that one of them could have been traveling for millions of years, and it's taken this long for it to get here. All I know is one thing. Since 2016, the near-Earth objects have increased in the inner solar system and interacting very, very close and around our planet. That's what I care about. So this is another good article to check out. And again, folks, it's all food for your mind. I'm going to go ahead and jump back here to the home page, because one of those meteors did hit the Earth. And this was in India. Come on, let's load here. Meteorite hits a rice field in Mahadeva village, Bihar, India. That's a picture of it right there that the guy is picking up. I don't think I would have done that. I don't think I would have picked a meteor up with my bare hands. Just thinking about how much radiation may be involved with that space rock, I wouldn't have touched it. But there are a whole host of videos that actually came from India as these people pulled this meteorite out of a hole. It was a pretty big hole. But you can go through this article. These all came from India. There is the hole right there, as you could see in the video. I'm not going to play any of these videos during my live stream, because these people have a habit, this one news agency in India. If you even play 2 seconds of one of their news videos, they try hitting you with a copyright strike. So you guys can go to the Planet X News website. You can check out these articles for yourself. If you are subscribed to our email notification, I sent out these articles this morning. Check your email, check your spam folder, check all your folders in your email, because it's hard to say what these, it's hard to say what Google and Yahoo and whoever your email provider is. It's hard to say what they do with the emails. So check all your folders daily. And you'll find the articles. You'll find the notification from Planet X News. You guys can read these articles, and again, it's just food for your brain, man. That's all it is. It's just more knowledge, And just the other day, this information started pouring out, and this has become a huge battle, folks. You have some people on the left, some people on the right. Some people say the planet's cooling. Some people say the planet's warming up. It's doing both. I've said this before. Research shows planet warming at a rate not seen in 2,000 years. Some parts of the planet are warming extensively. Remember, a few months ago, I mentioned to all of you, I said, look, we are going to have places on this planet in the northern hemisphere during the spring and summer and fall that are going to experience intense amounts of heat. Now, we just had this occur in the United States. We had a massive heat wave. And then I mentioned, I'm like, look, this heat transfer, it's going to move out of here. It's going to go across the pond, across the Atlantic Ocean, into Europe. Well, what just happened? The people in France, Spain, Germany, and I believe some of that heat even got up into the UK. Temperatures 105, 106, 107. There was a temperature reading in France the other day, 108 degrees. Broke a record. Yeah. So these heat spells are going to transfer themselves around the globe in the northern hemisphere. What happens in the southern hemisphere is cold. So for any of you that live in New Zealand and Australia, your temperatures have been below mild. It's a hell of a lot colder than it was last year during your winter in the southern hemisphere. You're going to see these patterns in both hemispheres go round and round. And then, whenever we move into the end of the fall solstice, we're going to see things switch naturally. But we'll see the same thing occur in 2019 with parts of the northern hemisphere that are going to have just absolutely brutal cold temperatures. And then there will be other parts in the northern hemisphere where the wintertime will be kind of mild, like it was for me here in the Pittsburgh area. You know, when I was a kid growing up here, man, I used to hate wintertime because our winter times were always brutal. We would always get the lake effect snow from up in Lake Erie, and it would come down over top of the Great Lakes and just wipe us out, man, through November, December, January, February, and even into March. Last couple of years, our winter times here in my state have been mild, but just less than 100 miles west of me, totally different story. So that is all attributed to what's happening with our jet stream. These major fluctuations with our jet stream, that is going to continue. It is actually going to get worse as time goes on. So without getting, too far into the future, but trying to answer some of these questions, yes, the planet is warming. Our oceans are warming. That can be a very big possibility why we're having so many of these fish kills and mammals, sea mammals, washing up on shore. There's also a high possibility when you deal with the mammals, these fluctuations with our magnetic field may be throwing off their little GPS unit in their brains and causing them to beach themselves. High fluctuations of magnetic fields. It's a shame. There is a lot of bacteria, a lot of algae forming in these oceans, in these lakes, in these streams. Water temperatures around the world are heating up. That causes very severe problems. And folks, I've mentioned many times before that all of that Arctic ice in the North Pole that has melted so rapidly over the last 2 years. Listen, we don't have any idea what was buried in that ice for tens of thousands of years. Microbes, bacterias, anthrax. There was several cases a few years ago in Siberia when they had warmer temperatures and massive amounts of ice and snow melted. And caribou, deer that they hunt and eat, came in contact with anthrax microbes from melted ice, stored in that ice for probably hundreds, thousands of years. Came from space. Animals eat it. You eat the animal, you die. That's what happened. So, as all of that ice melted up there in the North Pole, where did it go? It went into the Pacific Ocean. It went into the Atlantic Ocean. Look what's happening. Look at all these people that are dying from these flesh-eating viruses, flesh-eating bacteria. They say it comes from this, it comes from that. I don't think they're telling us the truth. I really don't. I wouldn't go in the ocean right now if somebody paid for me to go on vacation. I wouldn't swim in any lake, any river. I wouldn't do any of that. Now they have a virus or bacteria that gets up into your brain. Same way. So there's all kinds of weird things going on. You know, it's like we got to live in this little bubble. But hey, man, you got to go out there and you have to live your life, no matter what. I guess we will always live in a little bit of that fear, but keeping up with credible information helps you to make good decisions. So, you know, I just had a very good friend of mine that went on vacation in Ocean City. He was freaking out because the whole 10 days before his vacation, all he was reading about was the flesh-eating bacteria along the beaches on the East Coast, and he's going to Ocean City. And I'm like, hey, man, they even found it in the sand. They even found it in a few swimming pools at beach resorts along the East Coast, Ocean City, Virginia. Hey, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Take a chance. We take chances every single day that we walk out of our houses and get in our cars. So you can't stop living life. I wouldn't say live in fear, but like I always say, knowledge is power. So the more you know, the better off you're going to be. And you should be able to make better decisions on some things. But this was also a very, very good article to read. And there's some credible information here. This is still being fought over with scientists from different areas. Some say the Earth is cooling. Some say the Earth is heating up. All the factors right now, they all lead to the Earth heating up. Oceans are air temperatures, our surface temperatures. Take a look at what's happening in the North Pole. Take a look at those temperatures. And for all you folks that live in Alaska, I heard a bunch of you guys are getting sunburn. Yeah, 90-degree temperatures in Alaska. So you would pretty much have to be a fool if you debated a massive climate change. Is there a possibility that things cool down and we move into an ice age? I don't think any of us will see that in our lifetimes. Unless, you know, an asteroid or meteor does smack the Earth and produce a massive amount of debris that gets caught up in the jet stream, blocks out the sun. That would drop temperatures substantially. But we don't have a crystal ball. And until that happens, the Earth is heating up. And one of the main factors is the Earth's magnetic shield is weakening. We have a massive influx of electrons, all of these heavily charged particles coming from the sun. The very, very high possibility of more of this dirt coming from this planet X core that is orbiting our sun, which has to be, it has to have a massive magnetic field in order for it to fight the sun and stay where it's at. For these years that I've been detecting it, all of that factored together, infrared radiation coming from this object, X-rays, folks, all of these things create heat. They all create heat, actual heat that you can feel on your skin. Radiation. So, again, You have to be very careful being outside for long periods of time. If you work outside, you're going to be exposed to more and more and more of this. The more knowledge you have, the better you are to take care of yourself and protect yourself with your clothing, hat, the proper type of sunglasses. And for your kids, folks, hey, listen, I know in the summertime you like to get your kids out of the house and you want them to go play out in the sun. Look, for little kids, man, this is just not good. It's just not good. It's a shame because when I was a kid, I loved summertime. I was out of the house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't come back in till my mother started screaming for me when the street lights came on. But nowadays, things are very, very different. We're going to jump out of this article. And again, all of this is available right here on the planetxnews.org website. Share the articles too, folks. Share the articles with everybody, and that would give them a chance to read the information, and you could check it out. We're going to take a quick look at some earthquake activity here. Things have actually been starting to pump up a little bit. This earthquake map, they remove a lot of data because it bogs their website down. But I was monitoring some of this morning. Small magnitude 3.8. This was a kind of a weird earthquake here in Oklahoma, a magnitude 3.2. That depth doesn't look right. Oh, 1.5. Okay. And, this just went off here, magnitude 4.7, 58 kilometers deep. We'll move over to the USGS because I can't populate all of these earthquakes on here because it bogs their website down also. But we'll just grab all of the 7-day earthquakes, 7 days worth of earthquakes, magnitude 4.5 or higher. Get our street view. Oops. Okay. Now, these are all the earthquakes over the last 7 days, magnitude 4.5 or higher. And we had one right there, not too far from LA, magnitude 4.7. I've noticed something a little weird going on in that Ridgecrest area. Ever since all those earthquakes started to occur in Southern California, I've noticed that those earthquakes started to move upward between those two small mountain ranges in that valley. I think Dutch talked about it also. Now it seems like that has stopped, and the earthquakes are now moving south. They're moving downward. That's something to watch. So as I pan back here, and we take a look at all of the earthquakes of a magnitude 4.5 or greater for the last 7 days, you can see the earth is pretty polluted with them. The month of August is right around the corner. The data that I showed you in the beginning of this live stream is critical because we had 19 earthquakes plus the possibility of 2 more, which would have put us at 21 earthquakes over a magnitude 6 and several earthquakes magnitude 7 and higher in the month of August 2018. The same pattern was the same for 16, 17, and 18. That's 3 years in a row. That type of data is something that you just cannot ignore. And then throwing in the factor this year that we have this grand solar minimum, to deal with, the sun's magnetic field weakening, the Earth's magnetic field weakening. You guys put it together. You're all smart individuals. You know I'm not sugarcoating shit and calling it candy. You know I'm not lying to you. You're seeing it all for yourself. So we will see what happens. But you remember this live stream. You remember this live stream here on Planet X News on July 27th, 2019. And as we move through the month of August, like I said, folks, this is one point in time that I hope I am wrong. Yes, you heard me say it. You heard me say that I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Yeah. The sun's actually been kind of quiet over the last week. But let me show you something real quick, and then I'll let you all go, and you could enjoy your weekend. I've been watching this one coronal hole. You see this monster right here? Right there. You see, whenever we have situations like this where you see these sparse coronal hole openings, they actually, the folks at the heliospheric office, they really don't consider those to be coronal holes. I don't even know. They don't even list them as anything. But up here on the top of the sun, well, that's a coronal hole. And one here on the bottom. But this bad boy right here, that's not looking good. It's actually fluctuating, at some points getting larger. The point that I'd like to make is where you see where my cursor is. Right where my cursor is on your screen is where Earth's position is. So I'll just move my cursor over a little bit more. And as you can see, we will be in the bullseye of the solar wind, the heavily charged particles that will be spewing from that coronal opening. And I would say we'll probably start getting pelted with that. It all depends on the coronal or the solar wind speed. But probably sometime today. And for the next several days. So there is a very, very, very high possibility that the time scale that we just talked about for the earthquake activity increasing for the month of August, it just might start a little bit earlier. It's the 27th. How many days are there in July? 31. So there's 3.5 days left in this month with a coronal hole like that looks very deep, very ominous. It is directly aligned with Earth. It will be in about 24 hours. We will start to see and feel those impacts. Well, the Earth will. Oh, I would say probably within 48 hours. It could possibly even be starting right now. But that's a pretty deep coronal hole. I'll be taking a closer look at it later on today, and as soon as that all updates. One thing we can do real quick, we could go and take a look at the ISWA site, and we can see if there are any heavy fluctuations occurring right now with the magnetopause. We'll just get that out of the way. Take a look at it real quick. We'll go back in time. 300 frames. And let's see what's happening. Now, so far, looking at this, seems relatively normal, but we'll see if we see any compressions or fluctuations. There was a small one there. And then you could see, it seems like we're starting to get a little something, something. So that's as far as it goes there. I believe probably today's the 27th. Oh, I would probably say things should start going a little haywire with these models within the next 24 hours. You'll see everybody. You'll see everybody on Facebook posting these models because they see all the crazy fluctuations. Let's take a look at this. This is the solar wind model. You can see the solar wind up here, the speed in kilometers per second. Very, very slow. Very, very slow. Abnormal. But you could also see, so you see the coloration here where my cursor is, and then you could see a few of those waves coming in. So that is not associated with solar wind coming from the sun. That is definitely going to be associated with heavy electron flux coming in. Not solar wind. That solar wind will be coming probably in a day or so. We'll take a look at the predictor model, and we'll see what they say. But when you see this, what you're seeing right now, folks, this is a heavy amount of these heavily charged electrons just blasting the bow shock of our magnetic field. Where the hell are they coming from? In these models, it could also be an influx of cosmic rays, which we have been seeing. Those detectors on that spacecraft, they can't tell the difference. They can't tell you where it's coming from. They just know that it's happening because the detectors are reading the particles. As the particles hit the detectors, it sends the data back to Earth, the ACE and Discover satellites. But that's not associated with a solar wind. That much is a fact. We're going to take a quick look at the solar wind predictor model, and we'll see what their predictions are. And we'll see if it's close to what I've said. Oops, I didn't want to do that. And we'll let this thing populate. We'll take a quick look at it. I'm going to go ahead and just use the slider myself. So here we are. It's the 26th. Here we are on the 27th. You can see nothing, nada, zip, zero, zilch. But yet you saw all of those impacts coming in just 10 seconds ago. Where my cursor is right there, that's the Earth. The little yellow dot, that's the sun. What do you see in between? You see any plasma discharge? Do you see any solar wind remnants? No. You see nothing. But yet, you see all of that activity on the solar wind model that I just showed you. You saw wave after wave after wave after wave coming in and impacting the Earth's magnetic field. Now, you do see a spike. There's a spike here, which will be detected and impact around the area where stereo A is located in space. But relatively, this is plasma density. This tells you how dense that plasma, that solar wind will be. That's a pretty dense pop right there. So today's the 27th. This is just a predictor model. This isn't cast in stone. This predictor model does change. Okay. I think that we're going to probably start to feel more from that coronal opening tomorrow, a day ahead of time. So they're predicting around the 29th. I'm saying that between today and starting on the 28th, we'll probably start to see and feel more of that big coronal hole, because the Earth is dead center, man. That's going to be a shot right there. That could start to spark heavier, larger earthquakes within 24 hours. So you might as well say we'll be on a pretty decent earthquake watch from today. Oh, I'd probably say all the way till the 1st of August. And then all the data that I just showed you for August, well, that's going to kick in. So we'll be watching the month of August 2019 very, very closely. And if the pattern is correct from 16, 17, and 18, we're in for one hell of a ride in August. So I'll pull the slider out, and you could see, if you see the blue areas right here, these little small cloudy looking areas, that's solar wind passing. You see a small bout right there on the 27th, almost non-existent. But yet the detectors on the ACE satellite going cuckoo, going crazy. You just saw it on the ISWA model. So as we move past the 27th to the 28th, the Earth, free and clear, nothing between us and the sun. And then you have this one small patch right there, dead on the 29th. Here it comes. The impact begins just before the 31st. And then that's it. Then we have another one coming, and that would be between the 1st and the 2nd of August. That will probably be the bulk of what will be coming from that coronal hole that we just looked at. But again, folks, this model here, this is a predictor model. It's predicting. So it changes, I wouldn't say hourly, but as they receive more data at NOAA, they update this predictor model. So this is definitely going to change. And you could see here on the bottom model, the radial velocity in kilometers per second. This is how fast the solar wind is coming. We don't have to worry about heavy speed with the solar wind anymore. The solar wind speeds have been so low, it's off the chart, but in a downward spiral. So 300, 400, 500 kilometers per second, that's just very, very slow. It's really nothing for us to worry about. But we're definitely going to see some impacts, and we're definitely going to see some disturbances with the Earth's magnetic field, and the possibility of some very, very strong earthquakes moving in for the month of August. If you live in any of these areas, folks, that goes for everybody out in California, man. Everybody on the West Coast. I mean, listen, we've even had earthquakes now popping in Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma. Oh, my nose is itching. We're seeing these earthquakes just all over the place. So with what's happening in California right now, oh my. Having a situation like this moving into a month like August with all of that activity in the years past and everything that's happening in California right now, woo, man, the possibilities of another firecracker going off in California, well, they just got bigger. They just got bigger. Much, much bigger. Heed my warning. Be prepared. You know, I know you can't just pick up and move, but you could definitely get yourself prepared. Get yourself prepared, man. Have that preparedness plan. Have that emergency medical kit. Have some of those supplies. Have that flashlight. Have some cash on hand. Just prepare. Because if something does occur and you're not prepared, well, you know how that story ends. Life gets really, really hard and things get really, really dangerous. So just simply be prepared. Hey, before I check out of here, folks, I wanted to show you guys something. I had the last live stream that I did. I'm over here at the Planet X News online store for our shirts, and somebody had left a comment in the last live stream that I did. And they referenced all of us as, you know, me being Italian and whatever. They referenced us as the Planet X News Mafia. Well, I thought that was a pretty good name. So I forget the person's name. I hope maybe they're in the live stream right now. But I decided, you know what? I like that name. So I made a Planet X News Mafia t-shirt. And I think it's pretty Billy Badass. Pretty cool. Check it out. Everything's in high definition. The logos. It looks really, really good. I ordered one the minute I made it. On the back side, you have the conspiracy theorist, realist logo. I love that logo because I love it when people call me a conspiracy theorist. But see, people who are conspiracy theorists, they're just theorizing something. But see, we're realists. We deal in real life. Our subject matter is not a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy when you show hardcore proof and hardcore evidence, is it? So I love that logo. But I thought that the Planet X News Mafia, I love it, man. I can't wait to wear this shirt out and about. But if any of you guys are interested in joining my La Familia, my family, my Mafia family here on Planet X News, hey, feel free, man. You know, go over there. The link's in the description box for the Planet X News store, online store. You can contribute to my massive wealth of all of this money that I make from these shirts. I could pay my Corvette payment. Fucking idiots. I tell you, people will say anything, man. Also, I had another person suggest and ask for a shirt about this store, about these people that want to storm Area 51 and commit suicide, because I mean, that's basically what it would be, folks. If you think that you're going to storm Area 51, even if it was 1 million people, which would be highly unlikely, the military's not going to take that very lightly. They'll probably whack each and every one of you. But you know, a few people asked me if I would make these shirts, storm Area 51. They can't take us all. You know, so I said, oh man, come on. I don't want to do that. And then more and more people caught on it. Like, come on, man. So I decided, okay. So the other day I put together Storm Area 51, jersey. On the back side is a nice, Area 51 logo. And, I made the shirt, posted the information on the Planet X News Facebook page and our Facebook group. And within 24 hours, man, this is no lie. In 24 hours, 102 shirts right out the door. So I guess people loved it, you know. And yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I ordered one. And look, for all of you ladies, you have the ladies cut. And for all of you ladies that ask me, Scott, could you please make, you know, the V-neck? Well, there you go. There's the V-neck, and there's also the regular ladies cut. So it's all right there. Logos are all the same. Comes in multiple colors. So 2 new jerseys. I'd like to thank the person, I forget who it was, that came up with the Planet X News Mafia. That was really, really good, man. I like that. I like that. Here's the ladies' jerseys down here, all V-necks, da-da-da-da-da. So they're all right there, folks. If any of you are interested, it's all right there. I will post the link to the 2008 Planet X News earthquake data for 2018. I will upload that PDF file to my drive, and I will post it on the Planet X News organizational page on Facebook, and I will also post it in the group page on Facebook. So all of you can download it. Make sure you have a PDF reader so you can access it and show it. And for all of you that would like to make a video similar to what I've done today, the data is all right there. And it's a pretty good warning, because 2018 in August was one hell of a month. So was 2017 and the year before that. So heed the warning, folks. We may see some catastrophic events occur this upcoming month, August 2019. Very, very high possibility. But anyways, folks, I'm out of here. I'm going to go get a few things done in my life. Yes, I do have a normal life of some kind at some times. But anyways, check out the articles. Check out the shirts if you guys want them. You suggested them. And share the video, share the live stream, share the articles. Help others fully understand what is happening to our planet. This is Scott from Planet X News. Enjoy your weekends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for all of your support. Take care. Be safe out there, folks.